Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to Cosmo Muse Tarot. And in this reading, we are going to be looking at the month ahead. And that month in particular is August 2024. So, this month astrologically, we start out in Leo season, and we will have a Leo new moon pretty quick off the bat. So making new intentions around themes of Leo will come up pretty quick, which contain issues of leadership, creativity, romance, anything heart-centered, recreation and leisure also fall into that category. About mid-month, we will have the full moon of the month in Aquarius, which is the opposite sign to Leo. So finding a little bit of depth and tenderness and really stabilizing in order to come into a more fruitful period around collaboration, groups, humanity, innovation, those types of things. Also, right after, I think that full moon is around the 19th or 17th. But anyway, like somewhat mid-month, maybe a little further than mid-month. But then several days after that full moon, we will move into the next Zodiac season on August 22nd into Virgo season, which is all about kind of wrapping up the themes of summer. It's picking our harvests, organizing life, refining things, separating wheat from chaff, if you want to give it a metaphor that is useful there. It's really finding, pulling in the haul of what you've made productive, what you've grown through spring and summer, and then stripping, the excesses that aren't useful for whatever you're going to start to do with what you've grown. So like taking, the husks off of the corn is taking wheat from chaff, or like the chaff off of the wheat, literally, but you could also say the husks off of the corn, picking fruit off of the branch. There's like a separating thing going on in Virgo season where you are, taking something off the vine before it over ripens so that you can actually use what you've grown. So there is this theme of grief that can start to arise in Virgo season because we are having to make tough decisions about what is superfluous, what to let go of, what's ripe enough, what's grown enough to kind of now be cut from the source that it grew from, which sometimes is you. You could look at another metaphor here. This is like children growing up and going off to college and the parents having to let go. So there is this thing of there's a little bit of severing that can take place in Virgo season, but it's about honoring what's come into ripeness, what's come into fullness, and how do you allow those things to then sort of take on a life of their own? How do you let things learn how to stand on their own 2 feet? But in other ways, other things that can happen is just a lot of to-do list type activities. It's about being productive. It's about finding processes. So, and organizing and refining, which, kind of goes along with that whole thing of separating wheat from chaff, right? So coming into end of summer in this month too, it is a pivotal time. So a good chunk of August, really take advantage of the sun and fun, because come the 22nd, things get a little bit more hectic, a little more serious as well. On top of that, coming into August, celebrated on the 1st, but actual on August 6th, is a Celtic cross-quarter season of Lammas or Lanasa. There's two different names for it. It's either Lammas is kind of like bread mass, a time of bread making, or Lanasa is after the god Lu, who I think has something to do with the sun. I don't know if I think it's a sun god. But it is a cross-quarter season that shifts us from, the cross-quarter seasons in the Celtic wheel of time shift us into new directions on sort of a wheel of, on the wheel of the year. So the cardinal seasons, like summer and winter solstice and the equinoxes, give us like due one direction, like we're directly one direction, but the cross-quarter seasons show when we're starting to move more towards one direction versus another. And so with this one, we are moving away from that southern direction, which gives us really, really long days in the northern hemisphere. It's ruled by fire, it's hot. And we are moving a little bit into the west now with Lanasa or Lammas. And that is ruled by water. So we start to get those thunderstorms. We start to come into hurricane and tornado seasons. We, are beginning to move into things turning a little bit with that water, a little bit more emotional, but also a lot of wisdom coming on. We've really been through a lot of growth and maturity, so some new wisdom is sinking in. Once we get further into that western direction, we really get into autumn, where we literally start to get more dampness in our weather in terms of like more rain and even a little bit of snow depending on where you are at. But August does bring that initial kind of the thunder, some August rains, light rains, summer rains tend to come at this time of year. Obviously every year is a little different, so we'll see how that goes. But that's just sort of a, broad spectrum overview of the month. So let's pick our piles now to get more personal readings on this month for you guys. Okay, so I'm feeling this card, Dragonfly. Dolphin. And octopus. Well, we do have two full-on water animals. And then the dragonfly is actually, I believe, hopefully I'm not wrong on this, but I believe the dragonfly actually incubates and is birthed underwater. And it tends to hover around water. So that water element is kind of coming up strong here. I do recall, I didn't rewatch July's coming into this, the July readings, but I do recall there being a sense of like, it was a heavier month in general. And if you look at some world news, it was definitely a heavy month. There was a lot of really big things that took place, but also in personal lives, there was indication of like slightly heavier energy in July. August is looking a little bit lighter, a little more watery, right? So, so there are the three piles. I will say the way I have been doing these monthly readings for the last couple of months, at least, few months. If you do feel called to more than one pile, I think it's okay, because I'm just like really honing in on like a focal message. And so if you kind of have this feeling in you, this intuition in you that like a lot might be coming for you in August, you may choose two piles as well. But I would start with one and see how that feels. And then if you feel like there's more you're supposed to have, like come back and choose a second pile too if you want, or if you feel called to. So feel free to pause here if you need time to fill into these three piles. When you're ready, timestamps will be in the descriptions, and I will see you in your readings. Hello, pile one. Welcome to your August 2024 reading. You guys picked the dragonfly. So right out of the gate, This is definitely indicating that August is going to bring a lot of mental energy for you guys. There's a big association with dragonfly and mental energy. The way that it's really, the dragonfly wings have like this iridescent quality to them, and so the way light refracts off of them is very beautiful, but it's very changing and it's very busy. And dragonflies kind of have a busy nature themselves, and so there's something about like really being able to step out of yourself and witness your mind this month. There may be things like elements where you're learning a lot about your mind, you're witnessing your mind, or you may be just trying to grapple with calming your mind in general. So if you're someone that already deals with some anxiety, like start to really boost up some like morning and evening meditation time, some things where you can really get into calmness and a space where you can observe your mind rather than feeling so much like you are your mind. As well as like that also just calms things, and beyond being able to witness it, it also sometimes it doesn't always calm it, but oftentimes it can really help calm our mind too, to do just like a little bit of mindfulness and detaching. There's also a thing with perception and our mind, what we can see, feel, smell, hear with our senses. That all goes to our mind and we build a perception of things. And sometimes that's a very limited way of viewing things. And so when you can come into this place where you can sort of step outside of yourself, you're able to see that this is just a perception. What's happening right now, or what happened in that moment, was a perception of something. But there's wisdom beyond that. There's light to capture beyond that, that's a little bit more wise, and where you can gain some objective perspective on top of those perceptions. And sometimes that might even be to ask how other people perceived something, so that you can see different angles of perception, and then step outside of all of those and find threads of wisdom. But there is something about, stepping outside, calming the mind, stepping outside of the mind, finding wisdom above your perceptions of things, and a way to be able to come to a place to view the mind as a beautiful thing, like a dragonfly that has a lot of, refracts light, refracts perception in a lot of beautiful, interesting, busy ways. But when I can step back and view that from a more detached place, I can see that like some of it is illusory. Some of it isn't actually, concrete, but nevertheless it's beautiful, because it is one way of capturing light, one way of understanding things is through my perceptions, but just not identifying with your perceptions. I hope that makes sense. Overall, I think the message to take here is a lot of work with understanding your mind this month. Okay, so if you did listen all the way through on the intro, I know it was a little long, but for those of you that stuck in there and actually listened to the intro, I talked a little bit about the Celtic season that contains August, which is Lammas or Lunasa. There's two different names for it, but it is kind of like coming into the beginning of harvest season, the beginning of, at least in the northern hemisphere, that extremely long daytime, starting to recognize that that's waning. And so nighttime starting, even though the daytime is still in power over the nighttime is gaining a little bit of strength, and it creates a little bit more of some tempering around the fire that's been felt, around around that. Just very, very long days and very hot days. There's some tempering coming in around that, along with some harvesting. So this deck is the season of the witch, specifically for Lammas. So we're going to pick you a card from this to see how that kind of Celtic themed season might be playing into your month. Coming of fall. Interesting. Okay, so I'm actually going to read from the book for this. This is the first card I've picked from this deck. It's brand new to me. So, okay, it's number 7. Okay, keywords: still time to harvest, last push, preparation for success. Let the spark of hope within you ignite and never cease, for it is never too late to manifest your dreams. Very interesting. So there could be something going on with your mind and having to see through illusions and calm it around feeling like you're too late for something, you're too old for something, you don't have enough time for something. This card is saying that is not true. And so if you can pull out of your mind and look at time and look at the moment and look at your passion from a more detached place, finding a little bit more calmness and beauty about sort of committing to your passions, committing to some sort of spark. Okay, so let's read a little bit about this. Lammas marks the first of 3 harvests together with Mabon and Samhain. While summer is beginning to wane, and with it the growing season, there is still plenty of time to plant, nourish, and grow fruits and vegetables to take you well into autumn. You have pulled this card because all is not lost, and you can work toward your goal with enough time to see them come to fruition. Even if you have not been successful up to this point, there is still time to turn things around and use your past experiences to your advantage. This is your second chance, your moment to say yes, even when you want to throw in the towel. Receiving this card is your confirmation that it's not too late. Your age, level of experience, or breadth of your mistakes are not reasons to wither away without experiencing the joy of seeing your desires manifested. Whether you'd like to start a new business or breathe life into an existing one, entertain a second career, or embrace a fresh relationship, there's still so much in you to give. Ultimately, this card is your soul's plea not to give up because you are almost there. Beautiful. Okay, so yeah, there's something that you may be grappling with in your mind that if you were to detach from the mind, remote view it, or view your thoughts more objectively in a more detached way, I think you'll be able to find the wisdom you need to really commit to whatever it is that's kind of has a calling for you, where you're feeling a little bit of anxiety around that thread of like it's too late, or I'm not enough, or whatever it is, or I've made too many mistakes, or whatever, whatever it is. And it's like, no, there's a call here to pull back, see things from a wiser perspective and from a more beautiful point of view, and gain some reason and perspective over certain perceptions and beliefs that are holding you back from something. So really beautiful. Okay, let's see what goddess wants to kind of give you help this month as well, which may add a little more to the story here. That one wants to come out. Oh, I love this. Butterfly Maiden Transformation. You are experiencing enormous change right now, which brings great blessings. Yeah, so part of why you may be having a hard time seeing reality versus illusions, or feeling like there's enough time, or you're enough, or it's not too late, is because you've been going through transformations that take time, right? Those things, it takes time to sort of dismantle ourselves let life kind of fall apart, let something new recongeal, and then gain our butterfly wings. That's a huge process. And we do have to kind of let go of the productivity of life sometimes when we're going through that. And that can bring a lot of mind traps, a lot of illusions, a lot of anxious thoughts, because we're a little bit stalled, right? In that transformation period, we're kind of, in some ways, like, even though you're not at a standstill in terms of personal growth and like leveling up within you, it can feel like your progress in your external life has stalled. And so your mind can start to create some anxiety and some different narratives and some illusions around this. And it's like, you're going to actually be right on time for some spark that's coming through. That spark is coming through because of the transformation. If you stayed how you were, or if you were how you were, however long this transformation resonates to you, back before the transformation, you may not have even seen whatever this spark of hope was. So not only would you not have seen it had you not stalled movement in the external world, but also it's not too late, it's right on time. It's presenting itself to you because of this moment. There's something here of like preparation meeting opportunity. I do feel a sense of luck coming through, but you need to get a hold of your mind first and calm some things and find some objectivity and perspective in order to even like attach to or see this spark of hope that I believe is coming in August for you. So just, and I don't know at what point. I don't know. I don't feel a sense of like, are you coming into August having come out of the transformation and now you just need to get a hold of your mind in order to see this, or is there still a little work there? That might be different for each of you as to like where you are in that stage, because I'm not getting a strong sense of that. But I do know that at some point in August, there is that spark of hope coming through, and you will have to calm your mind in terms of thinking like, well, yeah, but it's too late. It's like, no, it's presenting itself right on time because this is the moment it's supposed to present itself because of the work you've done, right? I hope that makes sense. Okay, so let's get a few tarot cards to get a little more, a little deeper into this, a little more specific context. Ace of Grails, right under this coming of fall with let the spark of hope within you ignite and never cease. Something is igniting, and it's something that is igniting because you are becoming so much clearer about what you want, who you are. There's something that is transformed in you that is allowing you to feel more whole, just as your sense of self, just as like knowing what sustains you, what nourishes you in life, what keeps your cup full. It's like this transformation has helped you and or will help you, is or will, depending on where you're at, help you to really know what it is to be plugged into the things that nourish you in life, that sustain you. And it's like when that really clicks in for you of how important this is, that the work that you've done, how impactful it actually is, it's like something is sparking, right? New hope is really coming through. So it's like, just be patient with your mind and its tricks. Queen of Grails. So beautiful. You really are tapping into what truly nourishes you. And not, I'm getting this in the sense of like really in your core understanding this, but with the Queen also coming out, like knowing how to hold a presence with that as well. How to be that nourishment in the world, because you've tapped into what nourishes you and have found your center and conviction around staying connected to that source of nourishment for you. And it's allowing you to then be present in the world as a nourishing force, right? It's just like your sense of being has transformed, and it's just so much more peaceful. It's so much more nourishing. Your presence is definitely shifting. And then we have Queen of Spears. Look at this, you guys. This is gorgeous. This is a gorgeous reading. Your fire is also turning on, that spark of hope. As soon as, and this coming under the dragonfly, as soon as you get a hold of your mind and allow the spark to be there, allow yourself to really just be who you want to be and not feel some sort of fake timeline or expectations or false sense of too late, not enough, I've already failed there, whatever it is. Like as soon as you can just like get over the hump of those, not only are you now like really plugged into what nourishes you, now taking on a presence that's just nourished, that fire in you, something is turning on, and it's like you know exactly what to bring that nourishment toward, what to now give your sense of being that's nourished a mission, right? A creative mission. And it's just like you are firing on all cylinders. You're not taking any bullshit. But at the same time, it's like you have an awareness of your impact. And so you have like a kindness coming out of you, a certain quality of empathy and nourishment coming out of you. But at the same time, you're not letting things, your own mind especially, get in the way of you like really owning the command of your presence and your desires, and knowing what works for you and what doesn't, and not taking any bullshit around that, so that you can show up as the most nourishing force of nature that you can possibly be. But definitely, yeah, creativity with that water fire concoction going on here in the tarot, and in the context of aces and queens. It's just like you are definitely creating something in August, or something new sparks in you around this. Okay, come on. And now we have another ace. 2 queens and 2 aces. You guys, this is a special month. This is a really special month. Some kind of material power too, like having a certain backing, or knowing how to use the resources you have to make something happen in your life, which may even like that kind of like centering and determination can attract resources your way. So I feel like it's both, like you're really soundly finding clarity of what is at your disposal to use, and making plans of like, you know, okay, so how do I use what's at my disposal, the resources at my disposal? How do I strategize to use those to empower what I'm trying to create, or whatever this spark of hope is? And because you're finding that kind of clarity and empowerment, it's a magnetic energy that comes in, and it starts to attract resources to you, that just bolsters it all, right? So a lot of kind of energetic material power coming through. Yeah, magnetic. It's magnetic material power is how I'm going to phrase that. Also, just like getting clear about what you're worth could be in like a very simply put way too. Another thing for that Ace of Pentacles. And then we have Death right under transformation. So this is bringing up a whole other aspect of transformation. To me, this isn't doubling down and confirming transformation from the Butterfly Maiden, but it's showing that, okay, so the Butterfly Maiden to me is indicating this internal transformation taking place. You having really alchemized, internalized, broken down an aspect of yourself or your life and allowed it to recongeal in a new kind of resurrected way. This Death card to me is external. It's showing how the world is going to mirror that. And at least by the end of August, if not earlier for some of you, but I do get this sense that it's like end of August energy. Your external world, the things that are no longer resonating with the power you're now exuding, are going to start to sever from your life. Sort of like going back to the intro, I talked a lot about severing with that Virgo season. So that is an extra confirmation. This feels like come Virgo season. So from the 22nd on to the last day of August, at some point in there, I think the external world will start to strip away things from your life that no longer mirror who you've become in this transformation. So in short, saying things in your external life are transforming. That may feel messy at first, but it's a reflection of the process you've been through internally. Now externally, that process is happening. Some things may be feeling like they're dismantling and severing from your life, but it's only because you're growing. There's something not mirroring correctly external to what your internal is. And so it's just an adjustment, and whatever does come back together once things have kind of been dismantled, and it's, this is probably around a specific niche of your life, not your life in general. But there's probably some niche in your life that is going to start to dismantle, a little bit of severing. But when it comes to recongealing and the resurrection, the transformation, what it's going to mirror is what we've been seeing with these aces and queens. Your external reality around the aspect of your life that's transforming now has to go through the process to reflect who you've become accurately. So really big, really beautiful, really bold month. But there is this thing of like getting a hold of your mind and your perceptions, trusting, saying yes to what really lights you up, and then trusting that once some external things start to dismantle, it's just like making space for whatever you've transformed inside of yourself to be reflected to you better. So I hope that makes sense. All right, to end, let's get you guys an affirmation for your month of August. Feeling this one, Malachite, healing. I am a healing machine manifesting miracles. Yes, I love this. And so, a lot of transformation going on, a lot of getting a hold of your mind, being able to see the nature of your mind a lot more clearly. That does take work, but I do feel strongly that you're going to see the nature of your mind and being able to understand and work with your mind much more clearly. Clearly, there's transformation going on that is probably separate to that as well. Your mind is reacting to that, so you're also having to understand your mind, but something's transforming as well, and all of it is in alignment with healing And then that manifesting miracles comes through on top of that. So beautiful, beautiful. All right. Happy August. I wish you guys a really, really powerful, beautiful August. There's definitely some work in here. But the results, what's coming through is just like, holy smokes, like really amazing stuff. So yeah, stick with it. All right. I will see you guys in future readings. If this resonated, I always appreciate likes and shares and subscribes. Kind and thoughtful comments are something I love to see as well. But just thank you for being here, and I will see you in future readings. Hello, Pile 2. Welcome to your August reading. You guys picked the dolphin, which I just love. And I feel like you could look at this and be like, my August is going to be light and playful and easy. And there is an element to that. But dolphins also really connect into the subtle in a very spiritual way. So you may feel yourself sort of really catching these highly spiritual currents, and the energy that gives you, like, I think you will find some inspiration there that will make you happy. It will make you feel exuberant. But something to make you aware of, because this isn't something we are always aware of, is like when we do have this energy coursing through us and we catch these really spiritual, inspiring currents in life. That exuberance that kind of comes on in your aura and countenance really also impacts others in ways that you are also very subtle, right? Like the things you're plugging into or will be in August are subtle in nature, and you can kind of just sort of sense it and just follow those sort of vibes, if you will. But you're kind of, it's like a ripple down. Like you're kind of doing the same for others. Not that they're going to be able to catch the same current in the same way that you are, but your presence is helping them to tune into something more subtle that brightens, just that momentary interaction with you, just like could brighten people's day, could lighten people's day, could just put a smile on someone's face that you're totally unaware of. But I think it's just something to bring up, like even though you are kind of really tapping into some beautiful energy in August, there's a huge impact in the subtlety of effect you have on others. And I don't know, I mean, it's not like you have to work with that on a conscious level, but I think being aware of that on a conscious level can help you to just lean in even more, right? It can help you to have the courage to show what you're plugging into even more. Courage felt, I don't know if it's because it's like Leo season coming into August, but that word stuck a bit. It may take some, for whatever reason, it may take courage for you to openly be this dolphin energy, to show the subtle things and the inspiration and the light you're plugging into. I don't know, you may be breaking down some barriers in your heart where it's like been hard for you lately to show, I don't know, like lightness in your world. So there may be some initial courage you're having to plug into to be able to like show this in the world, which helps you to honor and stay plugged into this, and then also has that impact on others that's really beautiful. Okay, let's get a couple other oracle cards to plug into this. So I'm going to pick from the Season of the Witch, the Lammas oracle for the new season, Celtic season we're coming into the western direction and water direction, kind of in the Celtic wheel of the year. So let's see what that energy wants to portray to you guys. Corn dollies. And it says, the relationships that nourish are those you nurture with your spirit. There's such a spirit thing going on, like the dolphin's very plugged into spirit. So the relationships that nourish are those you nurture with your spirit. Interesting. Okay, so let's read a little bit from the guidebook for this. This is a new deck to me. This is the first time I'm using it as in these readings, so I haven't pulled one for myself even. So let's see what else this says. Keywords: honoring the earth spirits, inviting spirit into your life. That definitely hits. Inviting spirit into your life. And part of that inviting in, like we talked about, is being able to show it, right? Being able to express that spirit, those waves and currents and vibes of spirit that you're kind of catching that are subtle. There's something about showing it that helps to further invite it in, right? Okay. In ancient times, it was believed the spirit of the corn had no place to go once cornfields were harvested. Corn dollies were fashioned to give the spirit a safe home and kept inside until the following spring, when the planting season would begin anew and the spirit of the corn would return to the earth. This is a beautiful practice of respecting the earth that has been sacrificed for you, supporting the earth spirits in their time of need. I honestly feel like the earth spirits could be kind of those types of things, just honoring earth and its seasons and its sacrifices and whatever. But the earth's spirit could also be like others. We're all from the spirit of the earth because we're all 3D. We're all made of material. So it's like honoring others as if they were just part of earth, right? Supporting the earth spirits in their time of need. The appearance of corn dollies is a gentle reminder to honor your roots, ancestors, and the earth spirits. They are the blood flowing through your veins, the nutrition in the food you eat, and the wisdom that flows through your mind, guiding you to more success and joy. Do not take their contribution for granted, because this is a relationship that needs nurturing and support. Think of relationships in your own life. Would you want someone to only come to you when they needed help or resources and ignore you when you are in need of support? The connection with the spirits that protect and serve you is no different from that with a friend or lover, and they need you to remain present in good times and bad. In the physical realm, this card guides you to be more present with the people in your life. You may be in danger of losing someone of great importance if you do not make an effort to be more available to them. In your career, it can mean needing to contribute more rather than taking a support role. Interesting. So yeah, just like really being able to, like I said, I'm going to kind of repeat a few things I said, like there's some kind of exuberance you're tapping into, and it's meant to be shared. Not only is it sort of inspiring you and tapping you into your own subtle healing that feels like light and easier and just beautiful, but it's meant to be shared with those around you, and especially those who nourish your life. And the more you can share that, the more inviting of that current you are allowing and bringing in. So there's like a positive feedback loop. You're sharing, but you're also re-inviting it in. And on top of that, you're just like giving off some healing vibes to others that make their day just a little more special, even if it's just a minor thing where it makes them smile for a minute. so be it. But sometimes that thing that makes you smile for a minute is so much more impactful than you could have predicted or known. So there's something about like really making an effort to share this beautiful dolphin energy that you're tapping into. It's helping to, like secure the nourishment in your life and share your spiritual, subtle vibes that are so beautiful and positive. Okay, let's get a goddess card, see which goddess wants to kind of be a support for you this season, which may add more context to what's happening. I'm feeling this one. Maeve, cycles and rhythms. Honor the cycles of your body, energy level, and emotions. And that makes sense because there's a very subtle thing happening with dolphin. And I kind of think about how, I don't know, surfing's coming up to me because a lot of times dolphins will catch waves with people or come and say hi to surfers and stuff when you're in the ocean, but they find it fun to kind of play in the waves, right? So there may be a little bit of an ebb and flow with this, but it's like when that flow is there, share that flow. Really help others to catch the wave you're on or share the wave you're on, right? Like be generous with that flow. When you are having an ebb, because there's such subtle, sensitive energy here, it might just be like, to be able to stay in this high vibration place, you also have to protect your energy. And you also have to know that that is going to run your battery low pretty quick. If you're running at like a high frequency, it's going to run the battery low pretty quick. So you also have to take care of a little extra rest, right? Taking care of your space when you need to decompress, when you need some rejuvenation, when you're feeling overwhelmed, when you're feeling tired. It's like protect that, but know that that's just, that moment between waves when you can restore, and it's just helping so that you can catch that next wave, because I feel like it's going to, things are going to come in waves in August with this beautiful, beautiful energy, but you're going to have to recharge the battery between the peaks of this. But when those peaks and the flows come, be out there and sharing and open-hearted and recognizing those who are important to you and sharing your high vibes with them, kind of thing. So it's somewhat of a simple message, but I feel like it's coming, like we read in this, where it's like maybe it's really needed right now in order to strengthen some bonds in your life. Maybe it's coming right on time for something that's needed around that. And I did feel that thing of like, it's time to open your heart, and that might be hard for some of you for some reason, probably for a lot of different reasons, right? Okay, going to get a few tarot cards to add more context. This is very interesting. Ace of Swords, because, well, if you were drawn to pile one, you would know why if you came to both. Okay, so Ace of Swords and Maiden of Spears. I love that the Ace of Swords is kind of the lady in the lake. This tarot deck has a lot of Arthurian legend in it, and so the Lady of the Lake is part of that legend. I won't get into the legend itself, but it's interesting. I mean, I know she brings the sword out, but the Lady of the Lake herself is more watery, so there is definitely this feeling of water and mind coalescing with this Ace of Swords for me. Sort of something's coming up from your, like, as you open your heart and catch these high vibe energies and start to find a way to share them more, to be open with your exuberance a little bit more, is like some kind of new quality of consciousness is seeping in, some new strength of mind and level up in consciousness is arriving, and it's bringing you a lot of new creative ideas, new possibilities in how you direct your creativity and what your creativity even is or where it wants to go. But something new is attached to this kind of new consciousness that is turning on. Really beautiful. Okay, and then we've got the star. You know what? I mean, so far August is like really got some vibes going on for it in like really beautiful ways. Doesn't mean that there won't be like tough spots. I said the same thing with pile 1. There's like some tough things on the top of it, but what's underneath it and what starts to unfold is just like so much fresh, beautiful, hopeful energy here. So new hope, new belief, new sense of, and like coming right under the dolphin. I was just about to say this feels very connected to that dolphin energy. And that sense I had where like maybe that dolphin energy has been something missing, like that you're capable of plugging into, but have been missing for a long time. Like something hardened, right? Or something shut down in you and you've kind of missed that. And so it turning back on, you re-finding that dolphin energy is just turning on this new sense of hope in your life, a new sense of guiding star, and maybe a new sense of how important it is to have a more open heart and spirit, because with some aspect of it potentially having been shut off for a while, or just, resting for a while, even if you don't resonate with it, like having been walled off, maybe it was resting, whatever it is. There's like, in whatever way, whatever capacity you're kind of tapping into dolphin, I was feeling it that like it has been a minute. And sometimes we don't know what something means until we lose it. And I feel like you having sort of lost access to that dolphin energy that I think you've had good access to at points in your life, but that this time of not having had great access to it has shown you the true meaning of it, like how special it is and how rare it is, and how it's not something that is just second nature, at least as an adult. Maybe as children it's much easier to get into the dolphin, but it's like something that actually requires this really open energy. And there's so many things that happen in our adult lives that shut us down or that wall us off. And I think you've found the right way to protect yourself in order to be open the way you want to be. And so now that that's like coming back on, but in this more mature understanding of how to get to dolphin in a way that isn't naively vulnerable, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy to be back here. I thought I'd kind of lost it forever just due to maybe some protection issues. But now I know how to protect myself. And so I know how and when I can be open, because I have more confidence in knowing what's allowed in and out of my life, right? Who I share my dolphinness with, who deserves my dolphinness, whose other dolphinness I deserve back, right? It's just like this more mature quality coming through where it's not a naive dolphin energy. It's one that's really wise, really wise. And so getting it back, it means a lot. It just like I said before, sometimes we don't know what we have until we lose it. But usually when we initially lose something, it's because something wasn't right. Something was off, right? And so you kind of had to find some kind of more maturity in how to get back here, back to dolphin. And I feel like you've got it. And you're like, thank you, like hope coming through. I can reconnect to this quality, but in a way that like I have wisdom around. I understand how to share it, how it should be shared with me, how it needs to be taken care of, what nourishes it. And now that I can stand in dolphin with more confidence and more courage and more wisdom, I feel this whole new layer of consciousness unfolding, going backwards a little with the Ace of Swords and the Maiden of Spears, which is bringing a whole new ideas about life, creatively and passionately. Really cool. Okay, let's get just a couple more tarot cards. Knight of Grails. I love that. Just that's just poetry flowing from you. That's all I feel there. I'm not going to make that complicated. I feel you feeling the poetry of life and wanting to be exuberant with it. I feel you catching that. Like, just like I said, being able to show your exuberance, you're finding a way to show that is confirming. You will find a way to show that exuberance and to tap into living life more poetically, or showing a more poetic side to yourself, or tapping a more poetic side. And the Emperor is, just like a lot of new order coming in for you, a lot of new taking charge of your own life. This definitely confirms what I felt with the dolphin. It's like you're stepping into the dolphin not as like in a child energy. You're stepping in now as like owning your dolphin, commanding that dolphin energy, directing that dolphin energy with precision and intention. And it's something that you're now going to order into your life, integrate into your life with a sense of command. So figuring that out in August. So really, really gorgeous. Okay, to end this, let's just get you guys an affirmation. And we have awakening crystal, soul awakening. I am awakening to my true essence, and I am a full expression of my soul's vibration. I love that. Your dolphin is awakening. It's part of you. You just have to like really learn how to hold the dolphin in a wise adult way, right? But yeah, it's happening this month. So, right, hang in there. Sometimes these breakthroughs take a minute. Sometimes they come with lessons. But I feel like by mid-month, you're really gonna be into this and knowing what to do with it and loving it and feeling open, but also wise and precise and just feeling life, right? Reawakening a part of you that's been dormant for whatever reason. So yeah, enjoy. All right, I hope this resonated. If so, I always appreciate support with likes, shares, subscribes. Always grateful for kind and thoughtful comments as well. And I hope to see you guys in future readings. Have a gorgeous August. Hello, Pile 3. Welcome to your August 2024 reading. So, right off of the bat, I definitely, we'll see what the other cards bring up, which may, shift the tides of what I'm feeling. But when I feel into this card, I definitely feel like a little bit, sad is too strong of a word, but a little bit melancholy, maybe. I don't know if those are totally exactly the same, but something feels different to me. A little melancholy. These colors up in the, I don't know if it's called a head on an octopus, but what looks like the head of the octopus. It feels like emotions going on, like a lot of feeling of emotion that you're sort of trying to detangle and feel through and make sense of. But also with those arms of the octopus, like something you're trying to cling to, something you have a lot of longing around that's making you feel needy. And there is a call sometimes with the octopus that it's time to take some space so you can detangle what this is about, what's at the root. There is this principle, I think it's called like the 5 whys, like why am I feeling sad? And maybe that answers because like I feel like this deep longing for this thing or this person or this connection or this job or this home or, you know, like whatever it is. And I can't make it see me, I can't make it appreciate me, or I can't get to it or something, and I feel like I'm starting to become clingy with it, and I can sense the annoyance there or the boundary there that's being put up because of that energy, but I don't know how to shut that off. Like I don't know why it's happening, why it's so persistent. And so it's like, okay, well, where is the longing coming from? What's the longing about? And then you keep going a little bit further and a little bit further. And oftentimes by the 5th question, as you kind of dig under and under and under, you get to some kind of root place. But I think that there's like a call here for some alone time and potentially someone that can do some talking with you, even if it's like talk therapy, which is actually called out in the book. It doesn't have to be that. You could talk to a friend or a family member, someone you trust and doesn't bring up this energy for you, to have them help you be more objective and find sort of this root place. But I do feel this kind of it's like this longing and this restlessness and this clinging to something that's got some melancholy setting in, but I think some space, some talking this out, some journaling is really gonna, I think by doing that, bring some kind of breakthrough for you. Some kind of understanding of where this is coming from, what it's about. Because I do feel there's some kind of silver lining on top of this. I don't feel like I usually get these month readings that are just about like something hard without, some positive message entwined, or some guidance at least entwined. But let's get into some other cards and see what comes up, because I do feel that coming. Okay, so we are going to get a card from Season of the Witch, the Lammas edition, which is the new Celtic season we're stepping into in August, kind of the harvest, beginning of harvest seasons. Okay, I'm pulling this top card, and we've got Bird Feeder. And look at this. She is, she's on her own. She's reading, maybe contemplating, studying something on top of just by this bird feeder. But let's read and see what the book says about this. So card 2. Okay, it says, every tiny action taken in the pursuit of growth is a powerful step in the right direction. Keywords: sustaining life, making contributions, helping where you can. So maybe there's like other things, instead of like getting fixated or too entangled in something in your emotions, like if you get out and like go and do some service in the world, contribute to something in the world, that is something that will really may help you to get some objective understanding of a why. around the octopus stuff. And bring some growth, like in a new way that just turns something else on in you that makes whatever this longing or clinginess is, like, brings it down a notch in the power it holds, by feeding energy into something else, even if that's hard at first. All of a sudden, like, there's a breakthrough. It gives you some kind of perspective that's needed. So this does indicate some action you could do may help you to have breakthroughs around some internal tangles going on, some especially emotional internal tangles going on, like getting out in the world and helping and doing and engaging life is something that, will give you some kind of perspective that will bring some kind of breakthrough, I feel like. Not to say that alone time isn't necessary. I think it's like double, because that's sort of the image on the card and what I was feeling before. Like some alone time would help, but also like getting out in the world, like doing both of those. Like what's some alone time you can do to really contemplate, journal, recognize where your soul is pushing at. It's like your soul's pushing at some kind of edge. It's wanting to grow, but something's holding it back, and that thing that's holding it back isn't about that thing. It's about letting go of the level of growth you were at in order to really embrace the new growth you're coming into. Like sometimes it can be hard to kind of let go of old versions of ourselves, so we'll hold on to things that aren't about the thing itself, but represent that old cycle or that old version of self. So getting out and doing things in the world may start to show you the new things about yourself unfolding, and show you some results of that, and that in itself helping you to let go of an old version of you, which then helps you to let go of whatever you're feeling needy or clingy about, right? Sometimes it's really hard to see when we've had soul growth. And there are, I can think back to times in my adolescence where this happened, especially like relationship wise, where there was like a clinginess with certain relationships that I knew were done, but it was so hard to let go of. But like once, I did actually sort of move out in the world and do things, I definitely could look back at adolescence and say exactly what I've said here played out. Like when I finally got out and did some new things, some other things with some growth I was coming into, or pushed myself to grow because I was already at an edge that was like failing, right? That wasn't holding, because I was ready to go past that edge, right? So sometimes it feels like that edge is failing us, but it's really letting us expand. So something like that could be happening where you feel like something that would bring you safety, so you're clinging to it, isn't being pulled out from under you, or not accepting your embrace because something's falling apart. It's because you're ready to expand. So some boundary is naturally, some edge is naturally feeling like it's no longer there because the edge is actually now further out, but it feels like you've crossed some edge that was, it was your old edge, but there's not an edge there anymore, right? But you have to get out in the world and do things to recognize like, oh, there's not an edge there anymore. I thought this was my edge, so I was clinging to something because I could feel like the fence was gone. So I was trying to hold on to something inside here to not fall off that edge. But now that I've pushed myself out into the world, I recognize that my edge is expanded. That's what this is about. Yeah. Oh, okay. Very interesting. Very interesting. So hard at first, but a huge breakthrough coming in that you're recognizing that your edge has expanded, but you now have to be brave and get out there and expand what's in the new territory between your old edge and your new edge, right? You have to see what's there. You now have to get out and into it and get curious and, go and do some things. And so now we've got, this makes so much sense for coming out for your goddess for the month. Sekhmet, be strong. You are stronger than you think you are. Your strength assures a happy outcome. So I hope that's some kind of empowering thing coming through there. It's like, which fully supports what we just said. It's like, initially the perception is that you're going to fall off an edge with something, and so you're clinging, right? And it's not about the thing you're clinging to, it's about you wanting to feel safe, not recognizing that there's growth you can now step into. But this Sekhmet message is saying that you're so strong, though. Like, take the step, take the leap, be brave, step into the new world. So there's a threshold coming, and you have to really pump yourself up. Like, okay, I'm strong enough for this. I'm strong enough to step into this new threshold of life, to see what there is. What my life was yesterday or last month, it's not the same, so I shouldn't be stepping in life the same, right? I should be trying new things, testing new boundaries, testing out where is that edge now? Where is that new between the last edge and the new edge? What's my new playground, right? Go out and trust yourself to be strong, to take some steps and explore what new boundaries there are in your life, because there's new boundaries in your life. They're different, they're bigger, they're expanded, but you can't see it until you let go of that thing you're clinging to, right? Whether it's an old life, old habits, old person, old neighborhood, old whatever. It's like, stop doing things the same. Your life has expanded, so see what that means. Push some boundaries, be brave, be courageous. Know that you're stronger than you think you are, because those boundaries wouldn't have expanded otherwise, right? Okay, I like where this went. I'm glad we went where we went, because I was feeling a little sad about the octopus, and I'm like, I think there's got to be some silver lining, but I don't know. I'm sad. So this is beautiful. I love how this turned out and what it is about, actually. But yeah, I think coming into August, it's going to take a minute. Okay, so let's do a few tarot cards to get more context, and we've got the Magician right away. It's time to get out and so the Magician recognizes the resources they have, and they create with those. They manifest with the resources at their disposal. And this coming out is saying that there are resources at your disposal that you're not even aware of yet. You need to go out, test those boundaries, walk into life a little differently, do things a little differently, more bravely, more strongly, to even recognize the resources that are at your disposal. This is a discovery to me. Like, I'm reading this a little differently than I would a typical magician, because I already think you've been the magician. That's why you've expanded your boundaries. You have manifested something, but now it's time to level up your magician. But you have to figure out what is even at your disposal now. It's different. It's greater. It's bigger. It's better. It's whatever. But you need to figure out what your new tools are, right? What are the new elements? What are the new tools? What is the new landscape? What is even possible to manifest in this new territory? I don't even know yet because I need to explore it. So stepping into the magician archetype will help you, I believe, is why this is coming through. What are the new resources at my disposal? What do I even want to manifest now that I've manifested this greater territory? Like what? And it's not saying like, I don't think this is saying rush past it like, okay, expand again. It's like, no, okay, I've manifested this expanded boundary or edge in my life. So within this, this new territory, I have to explore what do I want to manifest within that before I manifest beyond it, right? So it's like, okay, I have this new territory, I need to explore it so I even know what I want to do with it, right? What do I want to do here? What is this about for me? So yeah, it's like get a little bit of an explorer going, get a little curiosity going, ask questions. That's another dimension of octopus coming on that's totally different, is like the octopus is very curious and very intelligent and very dimensional and dynamic. So like turn that clinginess into curiosity, right? Into a little intrigue. 10 of Spears. Yeah, so you may feel this as being, this doesn't surprise me. It all feels a little much. It feels like maybe too much to like, we get comfortable with the boundaries we've played in before. And so this definitely indicates to me, like, of course, new boundaries means pushing outside of my comfort zone, and that feels like a lot to carry. That feels too big, and so I'm going to cling to the past, right? Because I don't know what's out there. It feels too heavy. That's what I think the 10 of Spears is about in this instance. Okay, we had 3 cards just jump out, so let's take those. And then 8 of Grails, but ultimately you still need to walk away from that past boundary, whatever is you are clinging to. You already know, and parts of you have already walked away from something you're clinging to. But that thing that's still clinging is because you're like, it's too much. It's too, like, I'm not strong enough to hold what these new boundaries might ask me to hold. But that's such a projection. That's such a, like a fear projection. It's not based in any reality. You don't even know, like we discovered with this magician card, we don't even know what's in there. You can't project that yet. These fears of like, it's too much. You don't know what lies over that threshold really yet. You haven't explored it. You're just projecting things onto that, giving you more reason to try and cling to something in the past. So, okay, the World. Let's get both of these out. The World and the 3 of Spears. You've completed a level. This isn't giving a ton of new information. You've completed a level and there's a new threshold coming. It's your ship's coming in. This does add a little bit. It's like, both of these do add a little bit. They are confirming like you've reached the summit of some past boundary in your life, some last edge, some last growth phase. You've accomplished this. You've reached the summit of it. And the 3 of Spears is like the ship coming in, that new thing you've been waiting for. It's here. So this does indicate that something in you has wished for this, has wished for growth and expansion and something new. Because in the World card, there's also that, the baby on the lap here is like a new seed incubating within. So you did make an intention. You did have a wish for this new cycle and this new boundary, this new edge that's arrived for you. Nevertheless, it's still scary when it arrives, right? You still have to have the courage to step out of the liminal space you're in, which I do feel like you're in because of the Eight of Grails, and cross that threshold. Go explore, go, because this is indicating your ship coming in that this is a positive new growth that's come in. Go see what it's about, right? What is this about? It's positive. You created intentions about this. Whether you were conscious or not about it, you had intentions that incubated, that birthed this new edge in your life. So be bold. The Three of Spears is like, find your courage, be bold, cross the threshold, go on the adventure. It's like an invitation to the adventure. Step on that ship and sail to new shores, see what it's about. Step foot into the new world, right? This is what it's all about. And I get it. That's really, it has, much as you might wish for these types of things, when they come, it can be really terrifying. A lot of uncertainty. You don't really know. And this isn't giving us really any clues to what's on the other side. It's just asking you to take that leap. It's asking you to be stronger than you think you are. But a ship's coming in that's usually fortuitous. So, and something at some point you actually wished for. So it's here for you. Yeah. Okay, let's get you guys an affirmation to end. We've got aquamarine, communication. I communicate with ease and grace. So again, like going back into talking things through with a friend or a family member or a talk therapist, someone that you can talk about your fears, talk about your uncertainties, talk about what feels like that edge you're falling off of, talk about the new thing that you sense is there or even know is there but don't have, or struggling to find the strength or the courage, and like, how do I tap into that? How do I find that boldness to step into, I don't know what this is around, it's a month reading, so it's not, for some of you, this may be a whole new life, and it might just be one area, like a new job, a new, you've reached that edge with a job, you've reached that edge with a relationship, you've reached that edge with a home you live in, you've reached that edge with, and you kind of know it's time to move past something. It doesn't have to be this complete everything about your life, right? Save one or two of you here, it might be much bigger, who knows? But it's like, whatever that thing is that this is about to you, communication will really help. Talking, verbalizing, saying out loud your fears, saying out loud the things you're feeling still clingy to, saying out loud the projections you're having, and finding someone you trust that is a good listener. That's always a key. You can talk to someone you trust, but if they're not a good listener, it still doesn't help, because a good listener will reflect back, and they won't necessarily, when they know it's important to you and you're really processing something, they won't be like, oh yeah, I can relate, and this for me, and I'm going through this too. That's fun when you're just conversing, but if you approach someone like, I really need help, I need to talk this through, find someone who's that good listener that will reflect to you what you're saying, mirror to you what you're saying, and help you to see where those silly things are, where you're being ridiculous, where you're limiting yourself, where they're really listening to you and you're not just relating, right? And so sometimes that is a better role for like a therapist, but if that's not accessible to you, or you feel like you have someone in your life that you can be really explicit, like, I just need help with this, I really need input on my thing, Not that we can't get to your thing later, but can we focus on my thing for like an hour, right? And then I'll give you an hour in exchange later. But for this to be productive communication for me and processing for me, I need this to be focused, right? So if you don't have someone in your life that can do that, finding a therapist would be a good thing to do in this kind of circumstance where you really need really, really good listening and mirroring back to you. So, all right. Wow. Yeah, these readings were crazy, and I love where this went. I know coming into August, for sure, there's some things to work through, but once you do, it's like there's some wild new adventure here. You've grown your edge, right? I mean, that's massive. That's so cool. Okay, if this resonated, I always appreciate support, likes, shares, and subscribes are great ways to do that. Kind and thoughtful comments are always appreciated too, but just thank you for being here and wishing you an amazing August. Truly, at least by the end of August, you're gonna feel it as amazing. So hang in there. All right, I will see you guys in future readings.